Authoritarianism, a governing system characterized by strong central power and limited political freedoms. Key features: centralized control. Authority is concentrated in a leader or ruling party that makes decisions without public consent. Suppression of dissent often employs censorship, surveillance, and repression of opposition to maintain control. Limited personal freedoms. Civil liberties are typically restricted in favor of state security and control. Fascism, a far-right authoritarian ultranationalist political ideology characterized by dictatorial power and strong regimentation of society. Key characteristics: militarism promotes a strong military and glorifies warfare as a means of national rejuvenation. Nationalism advocates for extreme loyalty to the nation-state and often includes xenophobic elements. Suppression of opposition employs violence and propaganda to eliminate dissent and promote conformity. Nazism, a variant of fascism characterized by its focus on race and the supremacy of the Aryan race. Core beliefs: racial ideology emphasizes the superiority of the Aryan race and the need for racial purity. Eugenics supports policies aimed at improving genetic quality through selective breeding and exclusion of undesirable groups. State control enforces strict racial classifications and promotes systemic persecution of non-Aryan individuals. Republicanism, a political ideology centered around governance without monarchy, emphasizing citizen participation. Core principles: public participation advocates for a government where political power resides with the citizenry. Opposition to heredity rejects the notion that political power should be inherited through royal lineage. Rule of law emphasizes that laws govern society, protecting the rights of individuals. Progressivism, a political philosophy that advocates for social reform and improvement. Key principles: change over tradition, focus on social justice, scientific approach. It's basically the opposite of conservatism. Imperialism, a policy of extending a country's power and influence through military force or diplomacy. Historical context: colonial expansion, historically linked to the colonization of territories and the exploitation of resources. Cultural justification, often justified by claims that colonization brings benefits to the colonized despite the oppression involved. Criticism, criticized for its impact on indigenous populations, leading to loss of autonomy, culture, and life. Egalitarianism, a philosophical belief in human equality, particularly in terms of social, political, and economic rights. Core beliefs: social equality advocates for equal treatment and opportunities for all individuals. Equitable distribution of resources supports mechanisms to ensure fair access to resources and opportunities. Inclusivity promotes policies that embrace diversity and combat discrimination. Transhumanism, an intellectual movement advocating for the enhancement of human capabilities through technology. Key concepts: overcoming limitations, seeks to use technology to improve human physical and cognitive abilities. Longevity and health, focuses on research into extending human life and enhancing health. Communitarianism, a political philosophy that emphasizes the connection between the individual and the community. Core ideas: community over individualism, argues that individual rights should be balanced with social responsibilities. Social cohesion advocates for policies that strengthen community bonds and collective identity. Critique of extremes challenges both individualistic liberalism and authoritarianism, seeking a middle ground. Conservatism, a political philosophy that seeks to preserve traditional institutions and values, particularly in Western culture. Key principles: nuclear family, organized religion, military values, property rights. Liberalism, a political ideology that emphasizes individual freedoms, democratic governance, and equality under the law, key principles. Individual rights advocates that every person should have fundamental rights, including freedom of speech, religion, and assembly. Equality before the law ensures that all individuals, regardless of background, are treated equally in legal matters. Market economy supports free market capitalism with regulations to ensure fairness and protect consumer rights. Separation of powers establishes distinct branches of government, executive, legislative, judicial to prevent abuse of power. Moderatism, a political stance characterized by a centrist approach, avoiding extreme views on either side of the political spectrum. Key characteristics. Overton window operates within the range of politically acceptable ideas, focusing on practical solutions rather than ideology. Apolitical nature. Many moderates may feel disenchanted with politics. Feminism, a social and political movement aimed at establishing equal rights for all genders. Key goals. Gender equality seeks to eliminate discrimination and ensure equal opportunities for women in all aspects of life. Combating stereotypes challenges societal norms that perpetuate gender roles and biases. Empowerment focuses on improving educational, professional, and personal opportunities for women. Anarchism, a political philosophy advocating for a society without hierarchies or centralized authority. Core beliefs: voluntary association, stateless society, freedom and autonomy. Environmentalism, green politics, emphasizing the importance of ecological sustainability and protection of the environment. Key objectives: policy influence, aims to integrate environmental concerns into public policy decisions. Sustainability initiatives, promotes practices like recycling, conservation of resources, and reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Climate action, advocates for policies addressing climate change and environmental degradation. Populism, a political approach that seeks to represent the interests and sentiments of ordinary people against the elite. Key characteristics: mass appeal, anti-establishment stance, flexible ideology. Capitalism, an economic system where private individuals or businesses own capital goods and production and pricing are determined by competition in a free market. Key characteristics: private ownership, individuals or companies have the right to own property and make economic decisions. Free exchange, markets are driven by supply and demand, allowing prices to fluctuate based on competition. Competition encourages innovation and efficiency as businesses compete for customers. Division of labor, specialization of tasks improves productivity and efficiency within the workforce. Social cooperation. While competitive, capitalism relies on collaboration among businesses, consumers, and governments to function effectively. Socialism, an economic and political system where the means of production are owned or regulated by the community as a whole. Key forms: classical socialism, advocates for worker control of production and democratic management of industries. Modern socialism supports high taxation on the wealthy to redistribute wealth and nationalization of key industries. Key values: emphasizes social ownership, collective decision-making, and economic equality. Syndicalism, a branch of socialism focused on direct action by the working class through organized labor. Key principles: unionization, strongly advocates for the formation of labor unions as a means to empower workers. Syndicates proposes decentralized worker organizations that operate independently but coordinate collectively for broader social change. Direct action emphasizes strikes, protests, and other forms of direct action as legitimate means of achieving political objectives. Post-capitalist society envisions a society organized around workers' councils and syndicates rather than traditional state structures. Corporatism, an economic and political system where society is organized into groups based on common interests, particularly in various sectors. Key characteristics: sectoral organization. Society is organized around sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, and services. Negotiation and collaboration promotes dialogue and cooperation among workers, employers, and the state to achieve economic goals. Cross-class cooperation advocates for collaboration across social classes to ensure efficient management of the economy. Misconceptions. Unlike corporatocracy, which is dominated by corporate interests, corporatism seeks to balance interests among all stakeholders. Separatism, a political movement seeking the establishment of an independent state or political entity separate from an existing one. Communism, a socio-economic ideology that advocates for a classless society in which all property is publicly owned. Key features: common ownership eliminates private property with resources distributed according to need. Class abolition seeks to eliminate social classes, creating equality among all individuals. No state envisions a future without state structures. Libertarianism, a political philosophy that prioritizes individual liberty and seeks to minimize government intervention in personal and economic matters. Key principles: maximized autonomy, limited government, equality under the law. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more videos like this. See you next time.